In today's video, I'm sharing with you my week 1 in review of the Google Pixel 10 Pro. Let's get right into it. Hello friends, I am so excited to be back with another Google Pixel video for you. I cannot believe the amount of people that showed up to my last week's video, which was me just unboxing the Google Pixel 10 Pro that I have here. Welcome. If you are new, I got a lot of new subscribers there, and I appreciate you all just hanging around and being just kind, positive, overall cool people in the comments and as subscribers. And I have also been getting a lot of comments asking me for a full-fledged review of the Google Pixel 10 Pro. And unfortunately, I won't have that for you for some time. If you are not new to the channel, you know that I like to spend a good amount of time with the phone, actually using the phone, actually testing things in real time, in real life situations. And so it tends to take me about 6 months for a full review of the phone. Now, I know that might sound scary, but don't worry, I will be posting a lot of videos in between those 6 months, answering your questions, doing little deep dives, testing out certain things, and having specialized videos all about the Google Pixel 10 Pro. So don't you worry, there will be a lot more videos to come before that full-fledged review. But in today's video, I'm just going to be sharing my very first thoughts on some things that I really want to note in my first week using this device, because I have noticed some things. I've been taking notes for you. I've been looking at your comments and your biggest questions and taking note of that whenever I use the device. And so I'm going to be sharing 5 things to note in this video in particular. The number one question that I was getting, and the number one thing that I noticed about this phone, is the battery. Now, I will say, right out of the box, I was a little bit afraid of this phone. I was actually really doubting my choice in getting this phone because right out of the box, I noticed 2 things about the battery. One, the phone was overheating very, very rapidly. And 2, the battery itself was dying extremely rapidly. Now, this was immediately out of the box. This was immediately upon using it and stuff like that. I don't know what was going on. It was really, really rapid, and it was giving me like Google Pixel 6 Pro vibes. If you've been here since those days, you'll know that I had the worst experience with any Pixel device using the Google Pixel 6 Pro, and it was because of overheating and poor battery, and I ended up needing to get it replaced because it was actually a faulty phone, and Google support sent me a brand new phone. So I was getting really, really scared as soon as I started using this device. However, after that first day, things completely settled down, and I don't actually understand what happened there, but my thinking is that perhaps the phone was learning my routine. It was learning my charging routine. It was learning how I use the device. It was learning all of the apps and how long I use apps and stuff like that. And so it started to optimize the battery based off of my actions and how I use the device and how often I use the device in a day. That's what I'm thinking, because it truly was a flip of a switch. It changed from like completely dying rapidly to lasting a really, really long time. And so after that initial scare, I started to test this even further, and I would put it to charge overnight, and I would have the charging optimization setting on. By the way, there are a lot of settings for battery optimization, and I am utilizing as much as I possibly can because I do use the device quite heavily, and I'm using it a lot more these days for testing purposes. So I have all of that stuff on. And so I tested putting this to charge overnight, and the first night, again, I think it was learning, I put it to charge, and it said that it would be fully charged by the time I woke up in the morning. And when I did wake up in the morning, it was not fully charged. It was only charged to about 45%, even though I put it to charge at maybe 20% at 10 o'clock in the evening, and I woke up at around 6:15 in the morning. It was at 45%. That was concerning. I had to take off charging optimization for it to, charge up a little bit more before I had to leave for the day. So I was very scared about that. And so I thought that very first charging session was perhaps, again, the device learning what my routine is, my charging routine. And so the second time I put this to charge, which is very similar, it was maybe around 20-30% at 10 o'clock in the evening. And I have an alarm on this phone for 6:15 in the morning. Put it to charge, and this time around it only charged to about 60 something percent. So I was getting really concerned about the charging optimization setting and it not really knowing to actually charge my device up when I needed it. And I thought that it would be smart enough to know that, hey, you have an alarm that goes off to wake up at 6:15 in the morning. It would know to charge to 100% by 6:15, and it would actually tell me when I plugged it in at 10 o'clock in the evening. It would say, charging optimization on, your battery will be fully charged by 6:15. So I thought, hey, it knows my alarm. It knows to be fully charged when I have to get up in the morning. This is really cool. However, it didn't actually happen. So I was, again, extremely concerned. And then I tested it one more time and I realized that I was putting my phone to charge and my charger is next to my bed. So it will be like really close to under my pillow when it's charging sometimes. It's just the way that my bedroom is set up. And it was overheating while it was charging, being kind of like muffled under a pillow. And so I guess because it felt itself getting really, really hot, it would just stop charging. And so it wouldn't be able to complete its full charge by 6:15 in the morning because it was overheating in the middle of the night and it would just stop charging. How do I know that? It's because I did another test and I put my phone to charge. I made sure that it was clear, completely clear away from anything that could muffle it, get it to overheat, anything like that. Put it to charge, and I think I actually put it to charge at 10% at 10 o'clock in the evening. And then I put it to charge, woke up at 6:15 in the morning. At 6:15 in the morning, I checked it. It was charged to 100%. It was not warm to the touch, nothing like that. So a very long-winded and extensive test that I had to do to ensure that this battery was charging and the charging was working the way that it should be working, but it is. And ever since I did that test of keeping it clear away from anything that could overheat it, it has been charging completely fine. Very strange, very weird, but there are some cool things that I noticed, like one being that it knows my alarm goes off at a certain time, so it knows to charge to 100 by that point. And also that you really can't have this being too hot, or else it will know to kind of like stop charging or stop doing the things that it's doing in order for it to not get too hot and cause problems down the line. Now, with all of that being said about the charging in my first experiences, how does the battery last throughout an entire day? So I would say it's pretty solid. It's pretty good. Is it like mind-blowingly amazing? No, but it does last all day. So yesterday I tested this full charge because I finally got it to fully charge to 100% when I woke up. So that was at 6:15 in the morning. It was at 100%. And by 10 o'clock, I would say 10 p.m., it was down to, actually I won't say 10 o'clock. I would say about 9:30. At 9:30 p.m., so from 6:15 a.m. to 9:30 p.m., it went from 100% to 4%. And that is with me extensively using it to edit videos, to take photos, to text, to do work, to do emails. I toggled between using the Wi-Fi on and off maybe 100 times yesterday because the Wi-Fi in my office is horrible. And so sometimes I have to take my Wi-Fi off just to access a text message. So it was going through a lot yesterday, and I was still able to use it for the entire day without a single charge. Now, having my phone down to 4% and not plugging it in did give me anxiety. When it reached to like 40%, I really wanted to plug it in, but I told myself not to do that for the sake of this test and for experimental sake and also to report back to you. But it did last all day. But 4% by 9:30, I don't know, is that impressive? You guys let me know. I still think it's pretty impressive that it did last all day without a single charge. given the amount of crazy things that I was doing with it yesterday. Overall, so far, I think the battery is fine. It's good. It's solid. Okay, the second thing to note was actually about the charging experience. So I kind of clustered my 2 points into that one whole big spiel there. So the third point I want to talk about is Pixel Snap. Pixel Snap is basically their equivalent of MagSafe, which is something that was, I believe, started with the iPhone, with the Apple devices, and MagSafe is essentially, or Pixel Snap, is essentially just like a magnet built into the back of the device where you can use accessories that are compatible with that magnet. Basically, the accessory would have a magnet so that it would connect to the back of the phone. I will show you an example of this in a second, but I will just note that, like, and just let me know, because I don't really know much about MagSafe, but if you have a MagSafe or a Pixel Snap compatible phone, do you need to get a case that also has a magnet in it for it to all connect properly with your accessories, with your MagSafe slash Pixel Snap accessories? Because if that's the case, then it kind of defeats the purpose for me, because most people need, or most people want to have a case on their phone. And if their case is not MagSafe, then you won't even be able to access the MagSafe capabilities or the Pixel Snap capabilities unless you're not wearing a case, or you're getting a case that has a magnet in it, which in that case, then would it even matter if the phone itself had it? Does that make sense? You guys let me know in the comments what you think about that. Share your insight if you are an Apple user, or if you have any experience with this, or you have more experience with the Pixel Snap than I do. But all to say, I think it's really cool. I think it's one of the coolest things about the Google Pixel 10 series. I have always wanted to utilize that MagSafe capability thing, because I've seen other people use it, and I just think it's the coolest thing ever to be able to kind of snap in and snap out different accessories on your phone without needing to like get glue on your case or get like a sticker on your case, and then it's like really difficult to get it off and stuff like that, for like a ring holder, a finger holder, for a stand, whatever it may be. So I just think that the option itself is really, really cool, and I'm obsessed with it so far. I only have one accessory so far, but I do plan on getting several more. I'm just still hung up on the case situation because I'm not sure what to do. And if you did not know this about me, if you're a longtime viewer, you know this, but if you aren't, I really don't like putting cases on my phones. I would prefer not to, because I really love the natural, like, I just love the design. I love the color of the phone. I want the phone to shine, and it just sucks that we have to put a case on it because they're so delicate they can get damaged. But all of that being said, I have this accessory. This is a stand. So as you can see, it has the magnet in the back there. This is not like a Pixel specific one. This is just me going online and searching MagSafe accessories, and one of these came up, and it's a stand, so it can go out like this, and you can, stand it like that, but it also expands to be much larger, so it can be like a really high stand, basically. And I also like that it's pretty firm, so I can angle the phone if I want to. So overall, a pretty cool accessory, generally speaking. I can link this down below if you are interested. It's in a really nice gold color, which is perfect because the hardware on the sides of the phone is also gold. And so I'll just connect it for you. Connects very seamlessly. It's not coming off. It's very, very firm on there. I'll just pull the stand out so you can see how firm it is. And there's that. Well, here's one way that you can do it. And then here is the second. You can even do that, or you can do this. I just think the accessory itself is really cool, but it's a really, really firm grip. Like, I'm actually, using some strength to pull the stand out, and it is stuck on to the phone. So, like, I wouldn't do this if I wasn't confident, especially because there's no case on it. It is extremely, extremely firm. So, absolutely love this so far. Obsessed with it so far. I don't want to get a case. I don't know, but we'll see. Moving on to my next point, which is the camera comparison from the Google Pixel 9 Pro to the Google Pixel 10 Pro. So if you did not know, before this, I had the Google Pixel 9 Pro in the standard size in porcelain. And I have been doing some comparisons between the photos and the videos. I don't have examples to show you on the screen. If I do have examples, I will put them on the screen, like a photo example here and then a video example here. 9 Pro versus the 10 Pro. I will just say there is the most very, very, very slight difference in both. For me, at least when it comes to my natural eye and just very initial reaction so far. So with the photos, I've noticed that the photos are a lot more vibrant and contrasty. They're showing a lot more color when I initially take the photo. Is that like AI kind of, impacting it on the back end? Or is it naturally picking up those colors more vibrantly? I don't know, actually. I need to look more into that because, we know with the Google Pixel devices, as the years go on, they really focus in on the camera software more than the camera hardware. So I'm not too sure about that. But with the video, I've noticed that there's just ever so slightly, and I mean so slightly that most people won't notice this, that it runs just a tad smoother on the Google Pixel 9, the Google Pixel 10 Pro. And that might be a processor thing. I don't know. That just might be, I don't know. Or maybe I'm like hallucinating and I'm making that up because I have a new device in my hand. I do need to test this a little bit more, but overall I have to say the difference is so slight. I don't think it is strong enough, at least at this given moment, based on my opinion. I don't think it's strong enough of a difference to need to switch phones solely based on the camera, which you all know I tend to purchase new Pixel devices mainly based on the camera performance. So does that mean that I made a mistake getting this and not needing to get this? I don't know. We'll see. There are other factors here, but that's just my initial thought on the camera comparison. And then the last thing that I want to note is the processor and the speed. So again, immediately taking this phone out of the box, turning it on and starting to use it, it moves so insanely fast. I didn't think that it would be that much of a difference between the Google Pixel 9 Pro and this phone because they are comparable when it comes to the processing. However, it's faster. It's faster because I noticed this because as soon as I start using it and I'm going so fast that I can't keep up with my own actions, that's when I realize, hey, this is fast. Whereas when I'm using the Google Pixel 9 Pro, I got used to the speed of it, so it's like it's not really that shocking or surprising to me. But when I started using this one, it was going so fast that my eyes were just trying to keep up with how fast I was going. So that's just me anecdotally saying, I don't know if that's like actual evidence, but that's just me saying it's pretty damn fast. Everything is moving extremely fast. And I love that because it helps me be a lot more efficient. And we want performance to get better as we, continue upgrading phones and paying for upgraded phones, right? So that's what I have to say about the processor and speed. It's really, really fast and impressive. And if you're jumping from, let's say, a Google Pixel 8 Pro even to a Google Pixel 10 Pro, you will notice the difference in speed and processing. I think you'll even notice it between the Google Pixel 9 series and the 10 series. Slightly, like way less of a gap between like something before the 9, but you'll still notice it, I think. But those are all of my thoughts for the very first week using the Google Pixel 10 Pro. Again, I will just show that to you right here because I know you all are here for this device. Again, I'm going to throw in a little bonus one here. I still don't know how I feel about this color. Like, I think it looks cool, sure, but I wish it were a little more vibrant. But that's just me, and I will end things off there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for watching these videos. I appreciate you so much for sticking around, watching the videos, being supportive, being kind, especially as me, just a little old gal on YouTube that's not actually a tech YouTuber doing these tech Google Pixel videos. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. Again, don't forget to leave comments and questions down below so that I can check those out and do follow-up videos for you. And I will talk to you in the next video.